What is up, guys? You guys may know this guy as the E3 of Edison. Very popular guy on the internet, I hear. And he's going to be representing the fairy community, but he has his little teched out little brew. So he didn't want him to let me leave without doing his deck profile. So I want to add that in. So yeah. Anyways,
yes, I was like, playtest IRL, please cover my deck, and he was like, Keegan, you fell off plus ratio. I can't cover your deck. Like, you don't get the views like you used to. And I was like, oh shit. All right, no, it's cool. It's cool. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you were like, big name.
cool as Carpath.
Yeah, it's cool as Carpath or something. No, I played this I played this new deck. It's a fairy deck.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a fairy deck. It's a stun deck that masquerades as a fairy deck. And 3v3. And I went 2-2, but I think I should have gone 4-0, and I'll explain why afterward. The first time was to my own misplay, and the second time was because I had the wrong card in my deck. But yeah, the deck is really good. Let's just get into it, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the deck is a stun deck. I like to play stun decks because I think they're like OP as fuck.
Yeah.
The main creatures is 3 Thunder King Ryo and 2 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. These are your main creatures. You're gonna normal summon these most of the time and just try to use their abilities to stun your opponent, like cut off cards in their hands. Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer is really good against most of the meta. It's good against Amaryllis, Frogs, and Vayu Turbo. It's also good against Hybrid Blackwings, and it's not bad against Blackwings because it's just strong enough to trade with everything except Sirocco. And Thunder King is good against Blackwings. It's not very good against anything else, but it's good against Blackwings, and that's why it's good. It also makes it so you can't lose to like Dad, JD, and like lots of sacky top decks. Things like, yeah, just those two really. It also helps against heroes, which can be a tough matchup for stun, hero beat in general.
Yeah.
So that's why you gotta play 3 Thunder King, 2 Kaiku, and then the other normal summon stun monster that I played was 2 Banisher the Radiance. We'll get into this guy more later, but he's really powerful. He's kind of like Kaiku 3 and 4, so we'll get into that in a minute. Next,
And he's also a fairy.
He's a fairy. That will come up. That actually does come up. Another monster that you can summon, well, free summons basically, because stun is usually very normal summon heavy. So the reason we play these numbers is because this is the maximum number of normal summons you can play before you start to break. And even then, it's still like 1 or 2 more than I would have liked. But I do like 2 Cyber Dragon, 1 Gores, and 1 Soul of Purity and Light. These are all special summons that you can make. They're just cards that you can put into play to help aggro out your opponent, close out games. Soul of Purity and Light being a fairy is good, and it can also help you recycle key monsters like Thunder King for your Dimensional Alchemist if you don't have a way to get Dimensional Alchemist live. We'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, these are only special summons. We don't play Christia because Christia is very deck restrictive. Christia makes it so you can't side out a certain number of fairies.
Right.
And so you're always going to be weak to deck dev if you're playing Christia. So that's pretty much it. All right. Then the last stun monster, I guess, would be Gramble. He's really good. He won me my game against Vayu Turbo, like single-handedly. So this card's really good.
Yeah.
All right. And then the rest is like the fairy package. We're playing the bare minimum. So these are like your main win cons here. And then the fairy stuff can sort of like, it just supplements the win cons. There's 2 Warrior Lady, which you can get off Shining Angel. So there's 3 Shining Angel. This guy's pretty good. He's like one of the best summons. He gets under bottomless, which is nice. You side him out a lot because people will see that you're on fairies and they'll side in deck dev. And I'll get into that when I talk about sideboarding. 2 DL. He's fine. He's a good normal summon. 1 Cyber Valley to get with the Shining Angels.
Yeah.
And to combo with Mind Control, Brain Control, and to combo with DL. And then 3 Herald of Orange and 2 Honest. These are the most important cards. You're not really playing the fairies to play them. You're playing them so that you can support Herald of Orange. Literally, that's it. Like,
what is my purpose?
Exactly. If you have like Kaiku, Herald of Orange, and like a back row, most decks just can't beat that.
Right.
So that's basically how all my games went, is I would have a stun guy, a back row, and a hand trap, and then they couldn't beat it.
I see.
So that's pretty much how it goes.
Did you find that you've had so many normal summons in your deck, or do you think this is sufficient?
Yeah, so as far as normal summons go, if you count the Gramble, the 2 Warrior Ladies, the Cyber Valley, and then these 5, I think you have 16.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like 1 or 2 more than you want.
Yeah.
But if you consider the fact that you need a certain number of fairies to support Herald of Orange in game 1, then these kind of act as like garnets, but they're discards, but they can also be normal summons. It's like, it's hard to say. But these 5 are like kind of half, because they can be discards for Herald, but they can also be normal summons. Whereas these, and the Banishers as well. I think you need, this is like the bare minimum you can use to support 3 heralds. I think if you start cutting fairies from this number, you have to start cutting heralds.
I see.
They're like the first ones you have to cut, and that's like not what you want. You want to use herald to back up Thunder King or Kaiku. So that's pretty much
Yeah,
that.
so for DDV going into games 2, are you signing out Herald and all these other little packages?
So the nice thing is, against DDV, you have, I believe, 13 or 14 targets in game 1.
Yeah.
And then game 2 and game 3, you keep your deck core, which is this. And you can actually, you can side out, basically, depending on the matchup that's going to DDV you, whether it's Diva Hero, Black Wings, Hybrid Black Wings, or Value Turbo, you can side out 7 to 8 of these. So you usually side out 2 of these, 1 to 2 of these. This guy comes out against Black Wings, not against Value Turbo. This guy comes out against some of the matchups.
Okay.
Usually 1 to 2 of these. And then you end up with like really stripped package here. And you can even take out the full Shining Angel package if you want to with the Cyber Valley in specifically one matchup. But basically you can side completely out of being hit by deck dev. And then in the sideboard,
you're smoke screening almost.
You basically smoke screen into like better back row for certain matchups and like other additional threats that you can normal summon that don't get hit by deck dev.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. But most of the time, like the best way I've found to play around deck dev is if you are forced to leave in the angels, which usually you're not. But let's say you have like 2 angels left over, just go like crash and get your warrior lady super early. And that's like 3 more targets out of the deck, and then you're just sitting here with like 4 deck dev
Oh, that's
targets.
smart. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, so, or sometimes 5. It just depends on the matchup. Yeah, it depends on the matchup where you're at.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's the main monster core, and then the spells and traps is like pretty straightforward. For the spells, I just play 5 spells, Mind Control and Brain Control, because they're the best, and they combo with heralds. So like even if you draw a herald without a fairy, these can make it. These are like technically fairies for Herald, and these are good cards going second. That's another thing about this deck that I really wanted to emphasize is Banisher, Thunder King, Kaiku. These are all good cards going second because they take advantage of you having the battle phase, so they can get your initiative back really easily. And same thing with Cyber Dragon. These cards all get your initiative back, so this deck's actually pretty good going second. And Mind Control and Brain Control kind of accentuate that. And then the other spells just Heavy Typhoon and 1 Book. Book is crazy. I wish I could fit more, but there just isn't deck space. I have 1 in the side, which I don't know if I'm going to keep. But
so
anyway.
Book could be, you want to disrupt your opponent, is that what it is? Or you want to save your opponent from deprisoning you? And
it's both. It's kind of like a second Typhoon against Deep Prison. I had a game where I specialed a Cyber Dragon, and then I attacked, and then he went Deep Prison, and then I booked the Cyber Dragon, and then he couldn't get over it, and then I just kept my Cyber Dragon. I just won.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like a Typhoon, and it's also like a disruptive play against synchros like Debris Dragon or like fucking... It stops Whirlwind. It's like an extra summon stop.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get into that in a second. But
That's good.
The reason it had to be Book is because I wanted to have a critical mass of summon stops. I wanted to have at least 5. And in the traps, I play 4 summon stops. So, like, I wanted to have a 5th summon stop against Black Wings. So if they do have Whirlwinds and you don't have Thunder King, then you have at least 5 ways to make sure they don't get a Surge.
Right.
And if you stop the summon, it turns a Whirlwind into a -1.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
So, like... between 3 Thunder Kings and 5 of these, you have 8 ways to shut off Whirlwinds, which makes it very consistent that you don't just lose to Whirlwind, which is one of the most common cards in the game to lose to right now.
Yeah.
So that's why it had to be the Book. The rest of the traps, pretty straightforward. Battle traps, these are the best cards going second against Black Wings. That's pretty much it. This card's good against Frogs too, because lately they'll go like Unifrog, and you just banish their Unifrog, and then the rest of your back row just beats them. And then the last 3 trap cards is 1 Call. This is kind of like a soft oppression. In a lot of matchups, you can call back Banisher or Kaiku. Like if you call Kaiku to a Miracle Fusion, you stop it. If you call Kaiku to a Value, you stop it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then it also lets you cheat these guys in under bottomless if you do a Chain Link 2 or higher. And then Call Thunder King is pretty good too. It's like build your own Solemn Warning. So.
How are you outing Dupe Block in this deck? Are you finding it that it's difficult to run over the Dupe Block with this deck?
Well, like generally the game plan is so. And then these are the last 2. We'll get into it. But how do you out Block is like you just don't let them get to it. Like you have
it's prevention.
Dust Shoot, Mind Crush, 2 Banishers. You have Kaiku to make it difficult for them to get to it. You have 3 Heralds.
I see.
Where's my other shit? You have Torrential, you have Book, you have Mind Control, you have Brain Control. You actually have quite a few outs to the Block. But the best way to out the Block is to just make it hard for them to get to it. Like if you go first and you have one of these,
Yeah.
It's pretty busted.
They count 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Those two, yeah.
If you ever draw this, the duplex a neg.
Yeah.
If you ever draw this, Substitute's a neg.
Okay.
This
Yeah, it
shuts
gives
off
me a little
the-
hope that stun can do something in this today's meta.
Yeah. The reason I think like stun is good now is because discard alone it beats all the meta decks, and discard also beats a lot of meta decks if you can defend it. It's
Okay.
like a soft fossil dino. It's not as good as fossil dino, but it's close.
So that is cool.
Then the side deck. The side deck, it's like a work in progress. There's a couple cards. 2 DD Crows. I like this because Fishborg Blaster is really popular right now. And I sided it just for the Fishborg deck, but you can also side it against Norlaris, which is annoying. And you can side it against other decks too. It's just a catch-all.
Yeah.
I didn't side it in today at all. Actually, I sided one against Frogs, but then he deck dev'd me, and I was like, alright.
Frogs deck debut? That's crazy.
Yeah, I still won. Whatever. 2 breakers. So this guy is one of the cards you swap in when you swap out some of your DDV guys.
DDV guys, yeah.
Same thing with the 3rd Kaiku. So 3 Kaiku I think is too much because having multiples is like superfluous. Like you don't want to, especially if your opponent's like on hamsters and shit. Like you just can't get over certain things that Thunder King can get over. The first one is always good. The second one is not always good, but sometimes you just need to side down your monsters. So you need more monsters to bring in. 1 Chaos Rusher, same reason. You can just bring this in when you get deck devs. And then you're also bringing in darks always. So you have enough darks once you bring in, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but you have enough darks that when you're getting deck dev, you get to bring that guy
My question is, if you were to see a set, if your opponent does a T set, and you know it's kind of like a hamster, are you still summoning a monster and attacking the set, or are you like letting it sit there until they flip it and then you do something to
It
it?
depends on your hand, really. Like if you have Cyber Dragon or Thunder King,
Yeah.
it's pretty good to attack. If you have Banisher, it's pretty good to attack. If you have Warrior Lady, it's not bad to attack. And if you have Bramble, it's not bad to attack.
Yeah.
And if you have Herald, it's not bad to attack. Actually, if you have most of your deck, it's not that bad to attack.
Herald is a neg one in that respect.
Yeah, but if you stick a Floodgate and it cuts off one of their cards,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. The whole point of the deck is that you're trying to hope that your Floodgates get you card advantage,
Right.
so that when you use your interaction, it doesn't feel like a neg, basically.
I see.
But it's the only card that I don't usually try to attack with on turn 1. Even like Alchemist, Shining Angel sometimes I'll attack with, but the only card I don't really attack with is like Kaiku turn 1. I try to save the Kaikus.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that card's, it's so good late game against every deck. Yeah, that's it for the monsters. You just bring in these 4, and then you can side out 4, and then you'll bring in whatever traps is good in the matchup.
Got it.
I side 1 knock, like you said, for the hamster.
Hamster.
Like, if someone's gonna be setting a lot against you, it's pretty annoying. I wanted to have this whole deck is like percentage game. Like how many times can you draw like a way to play into a turn 1 set consistently? And so like the best way to play into turn 1 set right now is like Nobleman, Mind Control, Grand Mole. Those are like the 3 best.
Got it.
And then like you have other like kind of half ways to do it. But this with 3, you have the least chance of drawing 2 with the most chance of drawing 1.
I love that logic. It's funny.
Yeah, ProStorm did the math, and against Vayu Turbo, against decks like that, you really only want to draw 1 knock. Like you draw the second knock, it's going to be dead. And if you draw like even 1 knock and they don't have a Raikou, it feels really bad. But if you draw 2 knocks and they don't have a Raikou, you just fucking lose.
Yeah.
Like you're playing -2 against Vayu, it's like brutal. So yeah, I like having 3 total. You could go up to a 4th and play a Card Trooper, but that's another card you have to side out for deck dev, and it doesn't really work for the siding patterns. So
Yeah.
the whole point of the deck is like a numbers thing, really.
Yeah.
Then 2 dust. This is like
Everything.
catch-all. Pulling the rug is for Frogs. It's also for Diva. This card's insane. It just wins so many games. One thing I do is I'll keep in Deep Prisons. I'll side in a 3rd versus Frogs. So you just banish the Unifrog, and then they can never play through Rug or through like Kaiku or through whatever.
That's fair.
You just catch them on a turn where you like Deep Prison them, and then on your turn you have the initiative. You summon Kaiku, you attack, you banish both Treeborns, and then they lose the game. They can't play.
I mean, they're not summoning a frog with another frog if you have Banisher out.
What's up?
They're not summoning another frog with another frog. Like, Banish, they can't even set up, right? They're
If
playing
you have
a
Banisher,
summon
they
swap.
can't set up. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't even dump the Treeborn, so swap. Unifrog is not even a thing.
Yeah.
With
Well,
the
Unifrog's
Deep-
not even a thing unless you have like weak monsters, and they like set Duke Frog, and then they summon you after.
Yeah.
So
I can see
there's like longer ways for them to set it up. It just depends.
Right.
And then the last 3 cards I'm like not really sold on. This one I think is pretty good. Royal Oppression. This is for Glads. That's kind of a tough matchup. It's not terrible because like, unlike the Christia decks, you don't just fold to Defissure and you don't just fold to like Chariot Looping. You can summon a Thunder King. It's like pretty fucking good versus Glads. Or you can summon Kaiku, or even like a Banisher. It's like pretty okay against most of their summons. You have strong monsters, so you don't need the Ultra Royal Oppression, but I might consider it because the new Frog decks special summon a lot. So like, I don't know.
At least see it.
Yeah. And then the last two cards are just like whatever. They could be anything. But I put a Compulse in a book because someone told me there would be a lot of Glads today. I didn't see a single one. So
Yeah.
I decided two cards that would be good against Glads. But honestly, what I would do is like probably have one more monster, maybe a Dark monster, not another Breaker because you already have enough. But I'm not sure if I would play a Doomcow or like
Snipe Hunter? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, Sniper. If Sniper was 16, honestly,
Yeah.
just something that doesn't die to deck dev, that's dumb.
Right. I don't know why I suggested that. That's deck Debbie's target.
Yeah, maybe like a Doomcow version, like a random.
Doomcow, yeah.
And then the book, it's like a flex slot. If you lose to Glad, side book because it beats Trapstun and it beats Tiger. If you lose to like Frogs, side another Rug or side a Mask.
Yeah.
If you lose to like special summons, you can just side Royal Oppression like Diva Hero. If you lose to Hero Beat, you can side Prohibition. It's kind of like, these two slots can be anything, honestly.
That's right.
Most of the day I just brought in this. So that's pretty much it. So my losses, extra deck.
Extra deck, yeah, one more.
Extra deck, yeah. Extra deck, this contributes to one of the losses. Army Arm, Disaster, I'm gonna leave a space here, remind me. Bronic, Goyo, Wyvern, Black Rose, Stardust, Avenging Knight,
Taking that out, huh?
Dark End, yeah. Thought Ruler, Colossal, Mistworm, and then double Chimera Tech. Yeah, so this should have been an Android.
Android, okay.
It came up for me twice in the same match, and it lost me game 1 and game 3 because I didn't have it.
Okay.
Like both games, I was playing against Blackwings. I had Banisher in play, and I had a Herald in hand, and I had an Honest in hand. And I can't Honest or Herald. But if I was able to summon the Herald and synchro with the Banisher into a magical Android, I would have had an Android plus Honest, and that came up twice in the same match.
Oh, I see.
And not having it lost me that match, so
Yeah.
I think either Avenging Knight or maybe Mistworm. These are the ones I make the least.
Yeah.
But one of these goes, maybe Dark Ends too, if you can't afford it, budget. You can swap it for Android, but all these others come up a lot. This came up this one in game 2.
How are you making Dark End? I mean, theoretically
Chaos
speaking.
Sorcerer with
I
Herald.
see.
Game 2 and game 3, yeah. And also you can Mind Brain Kai's. Comes up a lot. So yeah, that's like a big change I would make to the extra deck. It definitely something I should have thought of but didn't think of.
Very stun.
Yeah. Definitely didn't think of. Because I just copied my extra deck from the other decks, and the other decks don't play level 3s, so I can't make Android. But this deck plays a significant number of level 3s. It plays Gremlin and the Banishers. So it was definitely a mistake to not have it. And then the other game I lost, I went first. I opened DD Warrior Lady Mind Crush, an IT set, and I passed.
Yeah, that's tough to call.
And my opponent goes, draw to 6, pass. And I look at my hand and I'm like, well, it's either Gores or Brain Control. Because like, you can't Brain Control here, but you can wait to. And you can bluff Gores and try to get the Brain Reversal. Or it's Gores, right? So I summon Kaiku, I flip DD Warrior Lady, I go attack, Mind Crush Gores, I miss. His hand was like Brain, Greffer, Kai's, Dad, Heavy Storm,
Yeah.
and he just OTK'd me the next turn.
But he didn't have Gores.
He didn't have Gores, so I had to discard.
300 damage, yeah.
Yeah.
-1, yeah.
Yeah, it was -2, because I have to discard a card too.
Yeah, that's
It was
right.
really bad.
Yeah.
So that was like, and that was game 1, and then game 2 was free, and then game 3, I just got tempoed out. He had like Stratos Windblast, and I was like,
Yeah, that's tough to strat. Yeah. Put a big monster on board.
Yeah, but I think if I don't Mind Crush there, because even if he had Gores, I think my misplay was I had a Herald in hand, which I had to discard to the Mind Crush. Or I had to discard my other fairy to the Mind Crush. I think I could have just played into the Gores, because I have DD Warrior Lady and Herald,
Yeah.
and then just like, I could just Herald it, and then on his turn, like if he tries to do anything, like if he Rotas, or if he like Brain Controls, like Mind Crush Kai, something like that.
Got it.
Figured out. Or I could just blend name with Brain Control. So it was a pretty big misplay, but that's the first time I've ever used Mind Crush like game 1 in the tournament. Honestly, the card's hard to use. So.
Yeah, it is a very skillful card, especially since if you don't have any information going in, like what their siding patterns are or what they're searching out for Whirlwind, the Mind Crush is like, okay, what do I hit? Like,
Yeah.
call what you're most afraid of, or call what you're least afraid of, you know, it's difficult for
Yeah.
sure.
But the reason you have to play it, I should have mentioned this. When you have Kaiku plus Mind Crash like this,
Yeah.
you want to have Kaiku in play with. You want a bare minimum of 4 collude outs or 5 collude outs. Sorry. So like when your opponent goes like normal Bora, normal Shura attack,
Yeah.
you have 5 ways to interrupt collude, which actually not a lot of decks can do. So you out aggro Blackwings in a lot of cases. Because,
You're
like,
holding Dust Shoot on an attack declaration?
yeah, against Blackwings you can hold Dust Shoot or you can just shotgun it and take the
Yeah,
collude
that's
down.
usually what people do.
Yeah, but it just depends on like how the player is playing and like what their build is. If it's what's that deck, Hybrid Blackwing with Dark Greffer?
Yeah.
I like to hold a Dust Shoot because they can't out Kaiku with Greffer or whatever. But
Summoning Sirocco is a problem. I mean, they
yeah, it
can
just
run it
depends on
over.
your hand. Depends on your hand. Sometimes you just say like, okay, fuck it, have the Sirocco.
Right.
It depends. It's different in different cases. Also, Dust Shoot and Mind Crush, you don't open them together often, but when you do, you just win. So it kind of gives your deck like a free win factor. So it's pretty good.
Keegan, it was nice having you on the channel once again after our 3v3 in Vegas.
Yes.
And glad to see that you're still healthy, still making content for the Edison community, and we appreciate you and all the work that you do for the Edison community.
I appreciate you, man. You're doing a lot of cool shit too.
Yeah, I'm doing hard work too, but not as hard as you.
You're grinding. You're out here. I always tune in to Playtest IRL. If you guys are watching this, make sure and subscribe to Playtest IRL. And I always tune in to get the freshest deck list because you have them like from the YCSs, from like RBETs, from everything. So.
And Nats, yeah.
Yeah, Nats as well. Yes. So
Yeah.
good shit.
I'm a journalist.
He's a journalist.
Peace out, man.
Peace out.